Hello, 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 hello. You are watching the Crown Cup Season 4 Challenger Division finals here. I'm Zeus, joined by Val. Val, are you pumped?
I am absolutely pumped to watch this and to see how this goes down for our finals.
Now, this is Unicorn Rage versus EC Shinzuku. Sorry, uh, Shinzoku. I I'm interested to see what these teams pull out here. It's going to be a best of five. Two teams that didn't quite feel the confidence to go into our champion division, but certainly have come out on top in their round robin style playoffs for this grand finals. I'm interested to see what they can pull out here.
Absolutely, they've proven themselves like through the regular season, and then through obviously the playoffs and how that went, and we're ultimately left with these two teams. So I believe for the finals, I've just got told that it's actually a best of seven as our finals is a
Oh,
bit more special than any other. So this is going to be for sure a big back and forth I'm expecting between these two teams.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. It should be interesting. I'm excited to see what these teams pull out here. This match did happen a couple days ago, so it is pre-recorded, but we don't know what's happened. So you'll learn with us, and also the patch dropping today at 7 does not matter, which I am so glad of because it means I don't have to figure out how the meta's changed.
Oh, that is genuinely so helpful. For one, the fact that it was pre-recorded means even though obviously the replay codes and things were wiped due to mid-season, this was entirely unaffected. We're still able to commentate just as before on this, and it really helps that we have no idea what actually went down. So we're going to be really learning about this with you as well.
I mean, right, like what's the worst it could be? What's the wildest it could be? Jetpack cats and Malgas?
There could be because um, I've taken a sneaky look at the patch notes for a bit, and there does seem to be some changes to Jetpack Cat and Magas. But obviously, before the mid-season, Jetpack Cat's still incredibly strong with teams who can adapt to it and figure out different strats to it. I think Jetpack Cat is like a hero similar to Sim in the sense that it will take a lot of time for people to like really figure out all the strats or just like the genuine ceiling you can
Yes.
reach with Fika specifically.
Mhm. Uh, Now I'm interested to see what these teams can do here. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So outside of our, let's see if I can. Oh, the challenge division bracket. I think we're going to be heading to look at. So
Mhm.
here it is.
Yes. Uh, we see monkeys losing early on in the these teams had a round robin style tournament to place for seeding with Unicorn Rage and coming out on top for the playoffs. Only three teams in this bracket, and then in the semi-finals, EC Shinzoku faced monkeys and kicked them out the park. It would seem, and they have entered the grand finals here.
Absolutely, they fought their way through. I've just noticed the jetpack cat on your right.
Ebroth keeps
How
putting it
long?
there.
How long has that been there?
He just put it there. I'm almost certain.
Okay, okay. So Zeus and Fika, and I'm by myself on this. That's completely fine. Nonetheless,
um,
EC Shinzoku had a wonderful showing against Monkeys, like a really confident 3-0.
yeah.
It was close at points, but nonetheless, they took all the maps and they were very happy with that. So they're looking really strong going into this finals for sure. I think
Now,
Unicorn Rage.
uh, if you do want to catch any of VODs at any point, you can just go to Crown Cup on YouTube. And that is also where you can find some of our Champion Division games that we've been covering. That is the much wider tournament. I believe it was 24 teams, and we are now in playoffs. So the next couple of streams should be matches from that division.
And here we have the playoff bracket for that. So you can see this is like there's 8 teams obviously that's made it to playoffs through the cutoff of what was 22 or 24
Mhm.
teams. I'm struggling to remember the exact number, but there were a lot of teams, and these are the teams that have proven themselves and made it through. So be sure to look forward to this because this is going to be some intense matches as the champion division heads off into playoffs and eventually the grand finals at the end.
Yes. Now, I'm interested to see if we can see the picks and bans here for this first game, um, or even the map pick. I believe map picks first. So, ooh, Ilios, you gotta love Ilios.
You do gotta love Ilios, and out of all the control maps available for this, it is the one that is the most heavily favored in dive.
Yeah.
It's the more dominant playstyle in pretty much all of Ilios' history. So if anyone's looking to play a dive and anywhere in control, it's going to be Ilios for sure.
Mhm. Absolutely. Ilios is a lot of fun. Um, I'm also interested to see what rosters these teams are running, perhaps what heroes they want to represent themselves as well, because that can always be fun.
Okay, and this is the lineup for EC Shinzoku that they are sending into the first map. So we've got Plateau and Lukita on main support and flex support respectively. We got Shadow Eye on tank, Obito on mainly hit scan DPS from the looks of it, and Snow on flex DPS.
Mhm. And I mean, this is a textbook comp right now in the meta, so it'll be interesting to see if they do pull it out or if um, that's just their mains and their comfort picks.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think in the meta still as of right now, it's usually the Vendetta over the Genji, but
Yes.
if you're good on Genji, you can just make the magic
Mhm.
happen at this
You can
point.
you can make it work. And of course, being able to play something off meta well is really valuable when you're thinking about how people play and react to your team. Um, for example, if uh, if you're running Genji and no one's been playing against Genji for 2 months, it becomes way more difficult to deal with it than when Genji's super meta and super good.
Yeah, people definitely adapt to it the more they see it, and because it's been gone for so long, a good Genji, just the sheer surprise or like the fact that you haven't faced one for so long could be really disadvantageous to the person facing it. So
Yes.
if you're running the Genji comp, it could be very, very dangerous.
Mhm. Now, looking at Unicorn Rage, we have uh, Kyrum on Junkrat is a choice. I don't think they're running that, but it'll be fun to see if they are. Not a Noctilus, Ruben Wrecker, Hellboy, and Lonecorn. Ruben Wrecker seems to be named after Wrecking Ball himself, so we might see a bit of Hammond.
Yeah, for sure. I think if you're gonna play ball on any map, Ilios has to be the map. Ilios for
Oh,
sure has
yeah.
to be the map.
There's so many
Um,
boots.
there are so many beautiful spots, like your ability to stall on rooftops, to set up for slams, to just reach the skybox and fly out at Mach 10 and instantly start staging before literally any other hero is even 5 feet from the spawn doors it's insane what these wrecking ball players can do. And
Yeah,
we'll just see if they do that. But I think we're
they
going to be
can do
heading to
that.
the
Yeah.
hero band screen and
Ooh, Jetpack Cat. That's interesting. I mean, Jetpack Cat is solid. Maybe it's just that we really don't want to face this, and they know they can't choose to ban the same character twice, so they're getting a slightly weaker ban out of the way so that they can save their big cards for later on.
yeah, for sure. I think it also functions as like a nice support protector in that sense. Like, say you want to play Lucio Kiri and the other team's more like an honor brig team, or just like if they're coming in with a different support matchup and you're thinking, we want to protect our support matchup, and also we want to take out the cat because if they try some funny strats with the cat, maybe we're not too comfortable. But the Diva ban, I think, is really strong as well in this.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I hopefully we should be going into this first match in just a couple seconds, but I'm excited. I think this is going to be interesting. Two relatively meta and common picks they're banned on a map that is very dive and very brawl focused, which is my preferred way to watch Overwatch. I feel like it just creates a more dynamic and faster paced game.
Absolutely, I don't think too many people enjoy poke slop outside of highlight reels, which can be really nice to be fair. But
Yeah.
the Diva ban, I think is going to be very strong here. Because with
Yes.
Diva, who's literally been a server admin for a while now, out, I think that enables Monkey a lot more. I think that enables Doomfist potentially, and also the Bull. So I'm expecting some sort of mirror beyond the Lucio Kiri in that sense.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good final. I think that it's always fun to see some more establishing teams within the esports space and ecosystem because you see ideas and things you don't necessarily see at a higher level, partly because people
Let's kick this off.
with a you gotta love spectator options.
You do gotta. Okay. So starting off, it's going to be a Monkey mirror. We've got Lucio Kiri backlined, similar there. But on Unicorn Rage, we have Freya Tracer against Genji Reaper for AC Shinzoku. And the first point gap has gone the way of Shinzoku here off that first kill.
Ooh, and that is some early damage coming out from EC Shinjoku, getting 2 kills off the bat, but Tracer able to get a double kill. That is impressive. Already backcapping this objective as well. Unicorn Rage playing the objective, and Shinzoku do have 17%, but it's not really going to be enough compared to that.
Absolutely, that was a really nice turnaround to the fight. Got the kills they needed, and with those kills, took the space back on point. Realized this is very much an objective-based game, and we got the Reaper setting up height now, getting to the next part of this fight.
Yeah. Now, Winston just poking out their opponents here from a distance, and Reaper trying to go for that close engagement, but ultimately just gets burnt out by that Lucio. That's you can't expect your self healing to do all the work there.
For sure. I think those were some very, very quick back-to-back point flips, that felt like the surviving members on some of the previous fights just kept going, or they kept themselves alive long enough to keep going.
Yes. Now we're looking at Shadow Owl getting a poke here, managing to dive on their opponents, and Lucio not quite being able to wall right away does fall to him, and trying to go for this Freya on the high ground, but Kiri with the pocket, unable to get a Suzu off, though. They do fall. Now, this is
Shadow
a
gets
scrappy fight. It's interesting, though. I do appreciate the Winston mirror.
absolutely not using Primal there, Ruben, holding on to it, realizing this is more of a lost fight. We'll try and stall out point for a bit longer, and then and then recontest, but it's Plato who gets the diff on Hellboy there to finish it off.
Mm-hmm. Now, Genji just playing this corner here, looking for a little bit of a setup that was fun. Something I've not really seen before. I'm not sure quite how effective it is, but certainly got some whimsy to it.
And Whimsy all through the roof, though Genji's fallen along with that. But it's traded by the Freya in all this. Primal out from Shadow are looking for what they can get through. Kyurem close to point does get the flip and manages to kill Lukita on the way through.
Now, Shinzoku not doing too well here so far. They are going to have Winston dive onto that backline, which is very useful, but he gets booped off the map! Oh, that was nice, followed by the beat from Shinzoku and Unicorn Rage, but Unicorn Rage ultimately do have the health advantage overall now, and they should be able to win this, but Obito, ulting on point, isn't going to find a kill off the back of it, though. This is a very scrappy fight.
Yeah, I think Shinzoku invested a lot when they didn't really need to. Already being down there, Winston, Lukita got killed earlier, so they were still 3v5 essentially.
Mhm.
I'm not sure really what they saw there to invest both the Blossom and the Blade, because that's going to make this next fight really tough into the Kitsu.
Yeah. Now, Lonecorn trying to find an angle here, trying to just wait out their opponents a little bit, and Tracer on the low ground. This is clever positioning from Unicorn Range. They have all their angles covered, and each character has enough mobility to get away if they end up getting dove or pushed too hard. Reaper looking for a side flank here, but does not find it as Tracer able to shoot him in the back of the head.
Absolutely, the Kitsu doing so much work on point. Shadow comes to touch, but there's really not much you can do into an uncontested Kitsu. Like it's a point where you have to touch. We need to trigger that overtime, but once you invested your jump and your bubble, they're just going to run over it with the sheer amount of damage coming through.
Yeah. Now that is the first round to Unicorn Rage, and a solid performance from both teams here. These are very even teams, right? They're on a very similar playing field, and that we saw both teams got quite far in the objective. So I'm interested to see if this does go to length, if we see potentially all 7 maps played.
Absolutely. I think I'm still slightly favoring Unicorn Rage here. I think the Tracer variant is just stronger, and also credit to Kyurem. I think Kyurem's done like so well on Tracer here, really carrying where they need to, staying alive when they need to, being in the right place to collapse and get the kills, especially too.
Lucio looking for the boops here, not even necessarily getting them, but the threat of being on the objective with a charged up boop is really useful, and I mean clearly able to deal some damage from it. You gotta love it, Lucio, who's willing to DPS.
Absolutely, and point flip goes the way of Unicorn Rage with a very quick fight. You saw the collapse on Reaper. Wraith forced almost
Yes.
immediately and then just immediately ran out. And it's prompted a
Oh.
comp swap from Shinzoku here, mirroring the Tracer on a Mauga Bastion. I think this is going to make the Monkey's life quite hard now.
Yeah, when you're not against someone like Sigma, you can kind of get away with running a comp like this, and it's going to be interesting to see how Unicorn Range deal with this, if they're able to recover. But Obito able to get that kill onto Hellboy, a lot of pressure, not quite understanding to respect it. Ruben, though, still getting 2 kills on that backline, and this does put Unicorn Rage just a little bit ahead in this fight.
Absolutely, Mauga coming in for a stomp here, looking to maybe trade some kills off. Still has Cardiac in the pocket, taking so much damage. Naughty Lucas got so low, but
6
Susan is
health.
good. And Shadow Owl so close to getting a trade there, but is finished off much later. And this is going to be extra progress for sure.
Absolutely. Now, Hellboy able to boot Plateau off the map. I mean, he really plateaued him, I guess.
Absolutely. But now these ults coming up too. EC Shinzoku need a full regroup, need to take this space as 5 because they're getting poked out in the walk up super hard at the moment.
I do see some of these players in chat, so it should be funny having them rewatch their own gameplay and maybe smack talk a little bit. But a scrappy fight over here as Hellboy able to get a kill on Obito, and a nice juggle from this Winston here. Nothing too fancy, but just good positioning and damage.
Ah, that was such a good play, Unicorn Rage. Like, it took the fight just a bit earlier before Shinzoku had those to fight. Those all important balls. Plateau just.
No way, the beat!
Oh, the beat to follow. Regardless
It's
of
so
range.
unnecessary. I mean, maybe they just got angry. Maybe they're just raged.
I think Hellboy needed to make sure nobody got traded there. That's absolutely what that was. But what was a very close lighthouse turned into an absolutely dominant well for the side of
Mm.
Unicorn Rage. The Malga Bastion comp, we did see some potential to it, but ultimately it's Unicorn Rage who managed to just do better there for sure and took them out.
And I mean, that's kind of the performance we'd expect to see from the top seed within these finals. But Unicorn Rage, still plenty of time for them to lose this match overall. So I'm interested to see what ends up coming off that. And I think the next couple maps are going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. It being a best of seven, you have to win four maps out of the seven to obviously be declared the winner. And I think even if Control wasn't EC and Shinzoku's best map type, if they really want a win, they could decide to go to their best comp, their best map mode, and obviously with first ban too, could be very much in their favor. But I think they might be holding that in regard and maybe just going for like a safer pick here because being 2-0 down doesn't sound too nice. So I think they're going to go to somewhere where they're fairly confident, if not supremely confident, that they can take this.
And I would love to see what map has been chosen next for hybrid. I'm interested. Hybrid can be reasonably hit or miss, but a lot of these maps are great. And Icon mode.
I can hold for sure. I think first point especially, like a dive is going to struggle here. If Ilios was more dive favored, hybrid in Iconwald especially, like trying to run monkey through first through that choke and the rotations around point is going to be super tough, I'd say.
Mhm.
So I think
I absolutely.
looking forward to
And
a brawl mirror potentially.
potentially, I mean, Ryan Mirror. Come on, I don't think that's happening.
Right
But
mirror.
I mean, we got a monkey mirror. I'm pretty happy with that anyway. Um, I think that these bans are going to be important because you're right about there being these open spaces and rotating being important, which is why someone like a Lucio or a Tracer are really important for that mobility. And if they're banned, it could potentially change the match as a whole.
Absolutely. Now, with the Diva ban and Jetpack ban out of the way, we have our new set of hero bans for the Iconwall. It's going to be Mauga and Freya.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, Freya, I think we saw like a Lucas do so well on Freya, to be fair. Like, I actually made
Yes.
the Winston's life so much harder, being able to poke him out and force bubble before the Winston were able to do anything beyond staging. It's just made it so hard. The Mauga
Mhm.
ban, we did see a bit of Mauga on that last point of Ilios,
Yeah.
so obviously being
I mean,
quite confident with the Mauga comp with that now gone, what do you think we could be seeing?
I'm not sure. I think Monkey's likely to come out here again. Both teams were running Monkey at the start. They felt comfortable in that. EC Shinzoku, the manga pick did feel um, like a comfort pick. The teams listed on the bans were wrong just now, but I'm fairly certain Unicorn Rage banned Melga and Shinzoku banned who
Ban
was it? I
Freya.
missed.
Yeah, as probably a response ban to the Mauga or something
Yeah,
of the sort. I think if Mauga's gone, we're back to the rotation of Ram. I think
um,
you could still run a Diva comp, especially on the second Ike second. Like Diva would be so strong. I think first is still a bit trickier, um, but you can make it work if one of them
yeah.
especially gets Diva.
No,
But I
Diva's solid,
think
and
Ram maybe is what I expect to see, or even an Orisa, you know.
Diva does also kind of fill the space of being able to get in a tank space and blast them. Not to the same extent as Malga, but she can definitely deal some threatening damage. And if we see a May comp as well, that could be a lot of fun.
That could be, especially these chokes. Just a singular wall can win you the fight if
Yes,
it's well timed.
absolutely.
You know. So I think this leaves a lot of variance for what we could say.
And here we have it, the bans for the first time. You didn't see the bans just then. They were wrong. They weren't real bans. Here we have Unicorn Rage banning Malga and EC Shinchoku banning Freya.
Alrighty. Well, Mauga Freya. That also does mean, by the way, that the Jetpack Cat is available. So if there's
Oh,
anything to break Ike first, a flying
you might be
bastion
onto something
from
there.
the left side coming in as you're not really a Mauga Stomps, but a
Yeah,
Diva flies in, that there is options. There is options to see some
just
silly
an
things.
entirely flying comp.
Oh, that'd be a
You
nightmare
know,
to
you get the
deal with.
Farron Echo with a Mercy Pocket, and then you have a cat and a Diva or something, or a cat and a Malga, and just have the cat carry Malga. What's the worst that can happen?
I'd expect in that case like a stomp from the toppest of ropes at that point. A stomp from a mile up in the sky and he just
Roar.
jumps down on you. Yeah.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's John Cena.
I think
All
once
right.
the Manga Man's gone, we might potentially see something like that, to be fair.
Hopefully, with that, we should be going into the game now before I start making more wrestling quotes. I'm certainly excited. Unicorn Rage already one map up. Shinzoku already on the back foot a little bit. They still have time to turn this around, but it's a question of if they will be able to, especially given with how convincing Unicorn Rage won that second round.
Yeah. I did see, obviously, the double flex in the form of the Reaper Genji and eventually the switch to Bastion. So it's going to be interesting to see how Shinzoku handles this one, because this was their map pick. They obviously had the ban pick in place too. Is Obito going to be sticking to the Reaper or that kind of flex DPS, or actually has just decided leaning into more of the hit scan role again?
Yes. Junkrat and Ash, interesting choices. Ash isn't awful. I've seen a little bit of her played. Junkrat, especially interesting. Junkrat is solid on this map. There's a lot of walls and angles you can use, but even so, that is potentially more of a comfort pick than anything. Not that it can't work though. And Symmetra, I mean, potentially planning a TP rush in, but it can be difficult to pop off. You need good communication, and I'm interested to see if Shinzoku have that.
Yeah, going to face a lot of spam on this walk up due to the Ash and the Junkrat, of course. Rams mirrored both sides, still Luke Kiri on either end too, in terms of support lines. I think it's going to be very tough to push this Junkrat out of this room, or just this
Yes,
position. There's going to be so much
it is.
spam.
And oh no way, Obito already falling to the Ash. That is going to restrict their options to be able to clear their opponents and try to break that gap. As Unicorn Rage are able to hold, they do lose one, but that is still a one fight regardless. And Shinzoku Shinzoku managing to push up so far right now.
Yeah, even though they did get the initial pick on the Ash, it became really tricky because Hellboy overstepped and got pushed back. We're seeing this big fighting point now, and it's really leading Shinzoku's way. It managed to bully the space forward because, oh, never mind, there's still a bit of fight from Unicorn Rage here.
I mean, not much of one. As Shinzoku take the first point with 5 minutes 20 on the clock. That was convincing. They lost very early on, but then they figured out, hey, we just need to push past this. We just need to try and commit and focus those supports and rotate in a way that our opponents aren't necessarily expecting. And it certainly worked. Now we're seeing a split push here from Shinzoku again. This is kind of their signature here. It worked last fight, and it's worked this fight so far. But Hellboy able to kill Shadow Owl That is a confident push and retake from Unicorn Rage. Well communicated and very good at dealing with pressure from multiple angles. Oh my gosh, the Junkrat spam able to kill Kiri. That's gross. Okay, now, I mean, this is, again, the idea behind the Junkrat comp. I think I figured it out. It's to stall more than it is to win fights. You just stop your opponents from engaging because they're too scared to take those angles. But with a sim TP like that, it's going to be difficult to recover from, especially when there's two. It doesn't matter. Unicorn Rage able to get 2 kills very early on there, having the mobility to put a gap in between themselves and their opponents. Obito able to kill Kyram, but still not enough. Doesn't really matter. Unicorn Rage still holding the objective and have been doing so for about a minute and a half so far. This point alone, after a not very convincing first fight, or first point. Now, the Dynamite coming out there is just going to be a little bit toxic, probably looking for another TP here, but when Kyram has Taya and has just popped it, it's going to be difficult to, and the TP comes out, Taya's going to miss the entire enemy team. Are they going to be able to find a kill? They're not quite, as Kyram also dies. Shadowfront choosing to pop ult here, does not manage to find much value from it. No one's really managing to get a kill here, but Shadow finally able to do so. That is not going to be great for Unicorn Rage, as they are on the back foot of this fight already, and with so many people everywhere on both levels, it is going to be difficult for anyone to really figure a path to this chaos. But looks like Shinzoku were able to do so and have won that fight. Now, interesting play here from Unicorn Rage, choosing to peek just that little bit earlier, already getting low on Ruben Wrecker, but they do have that revenge form, and it's still not really going to be enough. Is Ash going to be looking for a coach gun kill here? They are going to manage to get one, and popping out that dynamite shortly after, they are going to be able to get Ramatra, but he is low following it, and Naughty Lucas able to get that kill still. 2 minutes on the clock. Unicorn Rage have managed to hold for 3 minutes on this objective alone. That is respectable, especially given how much they struggled on that first one. Interestingly, there is no more Symmetra here, so it's going to be even harder for Shinzoku to push up here without that TP, which they were heavily relying on earlier. But I'm excited to see what they are capable of here, with Kiri and Sojourn on the low ground here, trying to push up, and Shadow Owl looking low already on no health now. Obito also falling, and Unicorn Rage have managed to win this fight. Yeah, again, they are holding incredibly well on this objective.
Yeah, for sure. I'm back now, to be fair. But they are really showing why people hate Ike second, because this castle, through the rotates, through the higher ground control, and all the different places you can just play in, spaces you can play in, I should say, makes it really, really tough to push. Like, it is one of the hardest points to push out of like any on any map I know, for sure.
Yeah. Now, 55 seconds on the clock, and with a tire coming out, able to get a kill onto Kiriko, that is going to instantly put Shinzoku on the back front. But Longhorn on 6 health is going to be looking low, and with a Genji chasing her up, it is going to force her to die.
Absolutely, but still some kills coming from the side of Shinzoku here. The kill onto the Junkrat from Obito, and obviously the pick onto Kiri does open things up just a bit here. Hopefully seeing a bit more of a step back, because they've got these picks. They can't hold onto the high ground as aggressively now, as Unicorn Rage looks to regroup just a second. Still got to care these ults though. This Bob could be very big heading into last fight.
Yes. Now the beat does come out, and that is going to be convincing, but Naughty Lucas does fall with a convincing play here from the Genji as well into that backline, with Bob on the objective, able to deal a lot of damage, and Ruben Wrecker getting that kill, but it's still not going to be enough, with Shinzoku 4 on the objective and no one touching from Unicorn Rage. They are almost certainly going to cap this point.
Absolutely, that was a massive clutch from the side of EC Shinzoku. Snowfrost and Obito getting it done on the side, taking down both DPS from Unicorn Rage, and finally being able to cap that point.
Now, Junkrat looking to poke out here, get a little bit of damage off, is going to be able to find some opportunities and openings in their opponent. That trap not quite working, but even so, the threat of Junkrat on that corner is going to be really difficult for Shinzoku to deal with. Is going to hold their advance a lot. Kiriko does come out, but responded to with a beat, and I mean, Ram's already looking low. Does not quite fall though, as under 200 health for so long there though. Shadowal just hanging on.
That was a massive push from Shinzoku, managed to really kill before the beat came online. So Kirin was already down in a 4v5, and through the rush they're taking all the space, heading into this last fighting point. It's a desperate recontest with Unicorn Rage, and they find Lukita, but Kiri's traded in this.
Yeah, both Kiris die, and Kyra pops Taya, able to get a kill from it. Is going to get forced out of that space though, and Unicorn Rage able to hold with 9, 8, 7 seconds on the clock. It is going to be difficult to get to recover, especially when Plateau, their one hope of touching, dies.
We say that Snowfrost was able to get the other touch, but burned recall for it, surely not able to touch again, and it's going to be held just before the end of third point here. A respectable attack from EC Shinzoku, and honestly, a very good defense from the side of Unicorn Rage.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, coming into the second round here, Unicorn Rage able to hold just about. They essentially need to make it all the way here to final point. I think it's possible. I think they're going to be able to do it, but still going to be difficult.
Absolutely. I think the Junkrat really leverages its strength on defense. Like, that's where a character like that being set up already becomes so difficult to push through. The Ashe already having the angle, having the space. So I'm thinking maybe we see a change here, something that makes it easier. And as I say that, Kyurem hovering the Mei for now, that could make pushing through this first push hook at the very least a lot easier.
Absolutely. And you gotta love the frog on that Mei skin.
Oh, the frog is absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Genuinely become
He's
one of my
just a
favorite
little
Mei
guy.
skins. On the side of Shinzoku now, on the
Zen?
defense, we're seeing a switch over to double hit scan, I say. A
Yes.
Zen? Zen
I
Yamsa with
think
Kiri.
I think this is a sustained comp. They're trying to prolong fights and make it so that they can make them as long as possible, wind down that clock, and hopefully get Unicorn Rage to overengage, overcommit, and make some mistakes there.
Absolutely, just genuinely being able to poke them out so much on the walk up and really forcing them to use these cooldowns so that when they get close enough, they die for it. And it's a trade there, cast for Mei.
But they have taken some space early on, and that is going to be very useful. As soon as they close this gap properly, they are going to be able to win fights. And with a split push like this, they have managed to close the gap, but Ruben Wrecker looking low. The Suzu does come in clutch, able to save them, and Sigma is almost certainly going to die here.
Yeah, once Unicorn Rage got set up, knew where they wanted to push, then push they did. Really not contested on those angles, which was really hard to. Lucio getting a nice kill. It's always tough into cast, but respectable to Hellboy there for sure.
Yeah, he just flashbangs you, hits 1 or 2 headshots, and you're done. You're toast. Interesting, Snowfront choosing to go Pharah here, may not really working out for them. Pharah's an interesting choice, potentially able to deal a lot of damage, but it is variable.
For sure, but a comp swap coming from the side of Unicorn Rage, we're seeing the Winston Tracer back this time for Castle. You know, hopefully finding it way easier to contest that height to really push through and break these holes as they have it, because they're still in the SIG comp.
Yeah. Now, Ruben Wrecker probably looking to get a leap up here as Lucio also climbs the wall, but choosing to push the car is an interesting choice. It does make sense playing the objective more than anything, and they come from above. It's John Cena as able to force out Kirisuzu, but ultimately get solo themselves, just about survives, and no one is going to go chase down that kill, which is interesting. Shinzoku already looking low, and that is going to be a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, I think the only one who is sort of able to chase that kill would be the Pharah out of them. The Sigma can't really get there in time. There's no speed. The Zen already did their best with the Discord forcing them out. Unless the Soj slides to follow up, there's really going to be no one else. So even though they got people so low, Unicorn Rage just managed to escape and live through it. And they still got these ults for the recontest. The beat,
Ooh,
the
the beat
Kitsu.
comes out, countering Sigma up completely. Now Sigma looking low on the objective, but has managed to retake very convincingly. This is going to be difficult for both teams to deal with, but Sojourn ults come out on both sides. This is interesting, scrappy though. Unicorn Rage have not been able to win.
No, the Trank able to stabilize this team, and obviously Obito pulling their own OC to stabilize and also get kills on the other side. Really, really nice work. A good desperate recontest, but under recontest nonetheless. So EC Shinzoku stabilize again on second point, and we see Plato on Brig now.
Absolutely. Now, Crime trying to find an angle, but already 83 health here is going to struggle. Able to get a kill onto Pharaoh, still low with the Kiri pocket though. It's not going to matter so much, and Brig falls. This is cleverly played by Unicorn Rage. They see their opponents are split, and none of them have quite been able to retreat properly. They don't have the mobility they did last match or round. Pharaoh popping ult here does. That was a risky barrage. It did not pay off. But interestingly, a choice to swap to Orisa and Reaper here, mainly for the damage. Kiri able to hold for a second or two longer. That is something I've not really seen before in a very risky play. Now, we're going to see a Kitsune come out here from Shinzoku. That is going to be quite threatening. A lot of damage coming out here. And Unicorn Rage just rescinding that space, giving them those 8 seconds on the objective, knowing that they can come back swinging harder and that they've effectively wasted their opponent's resources. With the Winston Primal Rage coming out there as well, that is going to be a lot of damage for the side of Unicorn Rage, something that Shinzoku is going to struggle to deal with and recover from properly.
Yeah, we've got Genji a swap over for Snowfrost now. The Orisa swap I think is pretty good, but they're collapsing right now and they've got to make sure to die quick. Oh, never mind, Snowfrost? Snowfrost gets 2 in this. That could be enough to stabilize them, because with these trades, it's going to be impossible for Unicorn Rage to cap now. They can push it a bit further, but surely Shinzoku can hold this.
Kyram looking to find an opportunity here, is going to be able to recover their health fully. And with 2:40 on the clock, they have a lot of opportunity to cap here. They are likely to win the second game, but Shinzoku could pull something out here that isn't really being expected. The Brig normally wouldn't work, but when you're already so close to your opponents, I think it's a very strong pick here, especially into Winston.
Yeah, I just think they're kind of stuck on Brig because Plato's already invested so much. The rally, you have to stick for the rally. We got the beat coming through. If Plato can live, we can get rally, but Plato dies. Shadow Owl has fortified, had everything forced in terms of cooldowns. Unicorn Rage are just rushing forward, knowing their opponents haven't got their portal yet. We've got to trade onto the monkey here. Can EC Shinzoku stabilize just a bit more? Obito's so low. Snowfrost taken out on the side.
Ooh.
But we've got the rally coming back from Plato. It's huge.
A
This
big
Brig
rally
just
comes
needs to
out there.
live. Suzu as well. Kiri's back in the fight as well. This could be what they need to stabilize. If they get a trade, it's massive. Orisa ult comes out as well, and surely...
Ooh,
It's
and
Unicorn Rage.
Lucas pops ult though, and with all of Shinzoku's resources gone on that retake, it is not going to be looking good for them here.
I think
Unicorn Rage
that's all
able to
wrote.
cap the objective, winning their second game here. That
I
is.
think oof, that was so close for Shinzoku. That was so close. I think if they just played the recontest a bit better, it could have worked. But I've got to give credit to Runicorn Rage. Like they saw the rally, they saw the Kiri come back in, chose that moment to actually kill the Kiri because she TP Suzu'd. It was the last point, you know, you need to go help your brig, and took a step back with the Lucio speed and recontested once again. Once they'd seen the cooldowns, once they'd seen them use everything they had, just use OC and run over them. So
Mhm.
well played by Unicorn Rage there.
Yeah. Unicorn Rage showing why they came to play here and ultimately proving themselves as the more dominant team so far. But Shinzoku could turn it around, especially with this next map being Escort, where you can really switch things up and play a slower game, especially with choices like Circuit Royale.
Yeah, Circuit, I think, is the one kind of how should I say this? It's the map where, funny enough, anything can work. Like if you're losing, if you take the other escorts, you look at their map modes and map types, and you're like, maybe we clearly lose it. Circuit is
Yeah,
one of them where anything goes to an extent.
to an
So
extent, yeah. It's
to an extent,
a it's a it is the most open map in the game, which and it's long straights, which forces you to play sustain based comps regardless of if you're attacking or defending, and it's so interesting from a meta studying perspective, um, and it's such an extreme example of what Overwatch can look like. But that's also why it's kind of fun from a theory crafting perspective. So I'm excited to see what map has been chosen here by EC Shinzoku.
yeah. Speak the devil is Circuit Royale. I think I'm actually happy with this pick for Shinzoku because we did see Obito hovering over the Mei. I mean, sorry. And if you want to play a comp more to lean into Snowfrost Genji or something of the sort, I think same Genji. If you can play anywhere, and if you can play it well, you could definitely
Mhm.
make that work on circuit with a Ram comp per se. Ram
Yeah.
finding it much easier to stay alive, but if you
Yes.
wanted to keep gambling, you could go for the Mauga stomps potentially with Mauga.
Mhm. And I'm interested to see what bands are here. I think that we saw a little bit of Ash from Shinzoku there, and Unicorn Rage might want to be countering that a little bit with their ban, but it's it's a little bit up in the air.
Yeah. If they're trying, if they're trying to target some players out, I'm not sure this is the great place for a Tracer ban because Tracer is
Yeah,
very tricky on first point.
but
I think Tracer
functionally useless.
does have some legs on second. Second, the map opens
Yes,
up a lot more to an extent. You've actually got some
As-
proper sort of flanks. There's more
and
space.
third,
Um,
there are some angles you can take, but even then, those distances to try and retake that high ground are so long. You want something like a Cassidy or someone who can shoot a little bit further range whilst moving up, maybe a soldier. But we see Anna and Sigma band here. That's interesting. Sigma very strong on this map. That makes a lot of sense, but Anna's a little bit more interesting.
I think Sigma with Sigma out the game. Um,
Domina?
it could be a Domina, but I think Ram would find it quite easy into
Yeah.
Domina to an extent. Like you've got to be really careful about how you play against Ram, especially. So I
Domina's
think
very
potentially a
good on
Ram
this map
mirror.
though.
Yeah, if there was a Ram
Ram is
ban,
solid
I
against
would
Domina though.
be much happier to say I'm willing. I'd guess
Hmm.
on a Domina mirror, but with Ram in play, I think it's a bit more iffy for sure. The Ana
And the
ban,
Anna potentially trying to counter Brigana comps, and a very good character for taking those long range healing opportunities. Kind of the only healer with theoretically infinite range. So you're gonna be looking to try and counter that in some way, and you either ban her or you let them run Brianna if that's a team's comfort pick.
Yeah, I think Arnhem is actually kind of hard on circuit because it's such a linear map. You take so much poke. If
Yes.
anything, it could be maybe a support protect, or we could be seeing something like Bapsan lead into a lot more.
Interesting. Unicorn Rage going for a very oppressive comp here at range. Every character here able to poke from a long distance, and it is going to be a nightmare to peak. Shinzoku running that signature um, to this current meta. Kiri Lucio, the best support lineup in the game right now, but not necessarily the best for this map, is going to be interesting. Hazard as well. Definitely a more dive based comp there, which could work, but on a map where you've got so far to travel, it's difficult.
Uh, the match
Like,
has started and Unicorn Rage aren't even set up. These players are still
no,
walking over from spawn. It's going to be a bit of
like
free push and nobody's set up on the high ground at all. I think, yeah, Shinzoku just get this
that's
first one for free.
that's a big mistake there. Gosh, that's really changed what's potentially going to happen here. That first little corner is perhaps the biggest stall point in the map, and often teams can get pinned there for a while. So I'm interested to see if Unicorn Rage are going to be able to retake much here or not.
Yeah, as this next fight goes through, they've kept pushing around the corner, and the trays from Unicorn Rage are still good. You know, the kill on the sim especially is so strong here that they are forced to, well, force Shinzoku to take a step back, and they get a proper fight on this really strong corner now.
Able to still win the fight, which is impressive as we enter the next one. And that Sim TP from Shinzoku is potentially going to apply a lot of pressure. They can push up using their mobility, and then they can go even further or use it as an escape option for the entire team. Now, Unicorn Rage giving their opponents a little bit of respect, giving them the space they need, but is ultimately going to be a little bit of a back and forth as Arrested pops Fortify just to stay alive there though. It's it's really going to come down to the wire here.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a bit of disconnect from Shinzoku in that fight because Shadow Owl went to stall the rest of the team in the back line, and his DPS were happy to just swing on the Orisa, but nobody was with him. So it was just a
Yeah.
1v4, and sadly, into Unicorn Rage's comp, close or far, they do a lot of damage, so that hazard just got burned through before anything really happened to the Orisa.
Ooh, a very clever javelin there to completely counter the Sim TP. That is that is really, really well played by Unicorn Rage, recognizing that as one of the key abilities of their opponents and choosing to shut it down as soon as possible. It is going to slow down their opponents a lot. Hazard going for that Ilari healing lamp. I mean, they keep doing it and it keeps helping a lot with dragons coming out here in that corridor that is going to be able to get Kiriko, and off the back of it, Shadow Owl. This is a very, very strong play here from Unicorn Rage, especially Kyron.
Absolutely, I think Unicorn Rage are doing a really, really good job holding this. You know, they're shooting them so hard on the walk up. We see how Shinzoku really struggles to make these rotations through all of this spam. Anytime they get close, you know, Unicorn Rage take another step back, and it's even further. But I think eyes on this beat push with no real defensive ult apart from the Wii angle. I think they're going to find it really hard in this beat blade if they're not careful.
Now, Shadow Owl able to get a kill here. That was a very nice play, looking like John Cena from the sky. Now, I'm going to see how many times I can reference that in one cast. As Unicorn Rage fall 1-1 until Shinzoku have managed to retake the point and taking the TP to high ground. Choosing to take a very high up fight is going to be difficult for Unicorn Rage to be able to touch here.
Yeah, they've got 4 members posted up, holding onto the angle. Surely we get the cap here, and this is just going to be a fight for a second at this point.
Yes, which I'm not shocked about. They have 2 minutes 44 on the clock though. That was a very good hold from Unicorn Rage, especially seeing as they weren't really on the point at the start of the game. Now,
Symbol out here, an aggressive push from Unicorn Rage, seeing what they can find, but they were already so far. It feels a bit I don't know, it feels like you got a bit of space, but on the walk up again, trying to look for something, it's Shadowell who's been punished.
Already halfway on the objective as well here. Unicorn Rage really struggling to recover from that fight. Still able to kill most of their opponents here. And they are going to push up in a 3v2, I believe. As their opponents just rescind the objective retreat. They know they can reset and let their lives count and not stagger unnecessarily.
Yeah, I really don't know about that fight from Shinzoku. Like, you already had the space, the cart wasn't anywhere close to the end of the second. Even
Yeah,
now,
they got
you could
over
see
aggressive.
yeah, they just were in a disadvantage that whole time. Nonetheless, Kitsu comes out and the
Ooh,
blade.
Blade comes out with the Hanzo Dragons able to get an assist as well. Now, Unicorn Rage fully decimated, only Brain Wrecker on the objective here. But Shinzoku used so many of their cooldowns and resources there just to cap this objective. Still very valuable.
Yeah, it's very much a thing with payload. Like, even if you have to burst, yeah, if you have to break the bank, as long as you get the cap, you're quite happy. You're quite happy at the end of the day. So they managed to cap second, heading on to through to third. Still got this hazard ult in place, but I'd keep an eye on it, actually. This Solarial could do a lot of damage with no defensive support up on
Ooh,
their side just yet.
Hazard Ult comes out. Just misses their opponents though. As Snowfront tries to push up, does not quite get a kill and falls himself. As a chaotic fight on the high ground here. No one's really on the objective, but Shinzoku only need to win it and then touch. However, with Naughty Lucas on the high ground there, choosing to take a flank on their opponents, they're going to be able to get a lot of damage off.
Yeah, it's Ruben who was stuck in a position where they could get traded and all that because the backline was completely fine off that beat push. Or I should say the Hazard push. Lucas trying to escape, isn't able to. Still got the symbol in hand. Surely I don't see this invested. Thank you, Obito. So into this last fight, we've got Beat and Simul. Really, really good ult for fighting on point. And because it's so close to the cap here, really looking for what Unicorn Rage can pull out in this case.
A very convincing symbol there, splitting everything in half just a little bit. That is going to be difficult to deal with, and with the Eariel coming out, able to get a kill off the back of it, but that is pretty much all they're going to be able to do as they do die themselves, and 1 minute left on the clock. Unicorn Rage just about able to touch here, but it's 2 fights left in the bag for Shinzoku.
That was mad players from Unicorn Rage. I think a bit of a fumble from the side of Shinzoku. They have the beat Blade into no real defensive support ultimate. The symbol did so well, but I think they didn't quite catch it. But there's some shenanigans from Unicorn Rage in the front line that enabled a few kills before the beat came out online. Nonetheless, still keep an eye on this beat and this Kitsu. This could be really what they need.
Yeah, using that TP, but not actually taking it, knowing it's a little bit too risky, and having it instantly destroyed is going to be rough. Now, interestingly, Hazard looking to use ult here, does not quite pop it as Snowfront, and Obito used both Brain Wrecker, does fall in hers, and this is a chaotic fight.
Absolutely. So it seems like while the rest of Unicorn Rage held onto that high ground, with Hazard pushing through on point, Orissa's forced to touch, and during the time they were occupied dealing with the blade, the other 4 members of Shinzoku collapsed in the Orisa and just melted her before she could hold on for much longer. And with that free tank trade, even if the blade is dealt with, having to touch point with those heroes into Shinzoku's comp, much harder. So it's a very nice full cap just before OT hit too, I should say. So well done, Shinzoku.
Yeah. Now, just a quick look at these stats here. Obito doing a lot here for Shinzoku, able to go 15-6 overall, as Hiram choosing to swap their comp. Shinzoku staying confident, staying firm on what they were running at the end of last round, and Zarya Vendetta, both very strong picks, both solid in the meta right now, and work well together. You can really farm up your damage on Zarya from having your Vendetta just kind of go in there, try get a kill on a support. And if they don't, that's fine. You've still got distance, you've still got an advantage so far.
Yeah, Zarya Vendetta, a bubbled Vendetta, quite literally demands a cooldown to not die to. So quite interested to see how they run this course into Shinzoku's defense comp here. It's still sticking the Genji sim, but having a Zen, we've seen Plato play this before. Feels quite confident that they can do it on the Zen here.
Yeah, just getting those charge up shots, but consistently almost dying from them. It's gonna be interesting if they can get Zen a little bit low and then follow it up with an area denial. That could be very threatening, and Snowfront falling here as well. The plan to run Zarya Vendetta working very well here. Oh, interestingly, a pause from the side of Shinzoku.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not sure what
seems maybe
happened there.
technical issues coming through. Not entirely sure as to the reason for that, but nonetheless, while it is paused, the state of the fight remains the same. So Unicorn Rage confidently taking that, killing both DPS. My
And
headset
one
died?
of the players' headsets died.
Oh,
Come on.
one of the players' headsets died. I got very worried about that. So while they
Yeah. One of the
obviously
players died. It was John Cena from the high up. From high up, he fell and smacked his head. Oh,
nonetheless
sorry.
Unicorn Rage heading through onto the end of first
Hellboy
point. A bit
teabagging
of a
on the
comp swap
objective.
Shinzoku. Thank you, Hellboy. WT bags. We got a cast swap off the sim onto the cast instead.
Yeah. Cass, a solid pick. Yeah, I'm not sure how well that sim was working ultimately, but Shinzoku going to try to root touch here, clearly planning for that. As almost certainly going to swing out here, but with Vendetta in that backline and Zarya taking up the heat now, it is going to lead to the death of Hazard just able to clutch in there, not for much longer though. Hellboy finally getting that elimination, and a clutch touch from Shinzoku, not going to be able to hold out though.
Yeah, that was a nice fight from Unicorn Ridge. Shinzoku doing their best there, but still finding it a bit too tricky to stay alive. Has blocking for all he's got, but that block is on a resource, and once that's run out, he'll be taking full damage to the face. So onto the Bastion and the Ram off the Hazard, off the cast now, looking to really punish this Zarya, I should say.
Now, Kerry looking to get some healing off here is going to struggle to find a recovery here, but Bastion swinging wide Obito, dealing a lot of damage, but still not going to find quite what they want. Unicorn Rage has every ult, or has almost every ult, and their opponents don't have a single one, but two of them instantly die as soon as they pop two ults. EC Shinzoku able to win a fight without any ults is going to be very valuable, going to kind of be the push and pressure they need, but Beat coming out here, they're going to try touch, they're going to try hold the objective.
That is
That's a
very
really
questionable
interesting
beat
beat.
from Hellboy.
Yeah.
It's a two-man beat onto a fight where you've been traded so hard that there's surely no way you can keep going. Oh,
They win.
very
They've won the
questionable there.
fight. It was
They've won the
risky,
fight,
but
I
it
think
paid off. It was in
it's
a
gonna be
2v3
tricky.
situation. I understand doing it. I still think it was we're putting our eggs in one basket play here, but it worked. It saved them the time they needed. They have 4:44 on the clock now into those 8 seconds. If they can reach the end of here in a reasonable amount of time, they stand a very good chance of winning this game.
Absolutely, I still think it was a big gamble, but it definitely paid off for Hellboy there, and Unicorn Rage got 4 minutes on the clock here for third point. So surely this is really headed their way. A lot of pressure on Shinzoku to fight back here.
Snowfront taking that angle here does have overclock, potentially looking to use it sometime soon, but does not need to here. Unicorn Rage all choosing to fall back, give a little bit of space to their opponents. I'm not sure how much they have to do that, but potentially looking to get Shinzoku to overcommit and force them to make a mistake.
Yeah, they got to keep an eye out. Out comes the artillery from Bastion. Beat push from Plato. Where is this beat? Who are we looking for? And we find Hellboy as well as Kirim. Obito is traded by Lucas on the side, but the damage is done, and Lone Corn falls as well. So surely Bubble's good on Lucas, but surely this Hitscan doesn't get out.
No! So close. If Bubble just lasted 5 seconds longer, which would make it broken.
Absolutely, and the Zarya fall to finish up the fight. Now Shinzoku still waiting on their Bastion to come back. Technically one down, but
Yes.
happy to hold this close. Happy to like waste more time off the clock. Make sure they burn some resources coming through.
Yeah, Unicorn Range still holding the advantage on the ult economy here is potentially going to allow them to win this round here, but it's a little bit up in the air. It's a little bit of a scrappy free-for-all here, as they're not able to find a strong opening to use any of their key ultimates here. Potentially a strong play would be getting that Vendetta to ult and bubbling her as she does. That's going to make her very difficult to kill and deal with, but it is going to also be putting your eggs into one basket a little bit, and it's going to be a risky play.
I think the Ram on the corner is just far too strong right now because the Zarya
Yeah.
really can't walk into all this poke damage. Like we're seeing bubbles burst the moment they come through. Even the double bubble
Yes.
onto Vendetta doesn't keep her in there for
Ooh,
long.
Vendetta gets bubbled as she goes onto high ground, has to fall down just a little bit. And with Kirio on point, Zarya is going to be at 100% energy, dealing a lot of damage. No kill found from the back of Vendetta ultimate, but still a lot of damage on the side of both teams here as Shadow Owl does fall from an incredible grab there on that wall.
The grab is so questionable, but the trades are good here.
I mean, it got
Finally
2
able to get
kills.
past this choke. I think
The grab was
the
weird,
fact
I'll admit, but it got 2 kills.
the fact that it was invested and did manage to secure the fight without too many later trades is really good because breaking through that chokehold, exactly what they want to see here. Now able to push back a bit further, actually get some meters more on the board. Gotta be care this beat though. Hellboy has his response.
Akira able to get a long distance kill there. You always love to see that. It's always a bit funny. And the beat does come out here alongside Kirio from Shinzoku. This is... a lot is happening right now. Lucio potentially looking for a boops kill here. Does not quite find it as Kiri Longhorn just able to get out of the objective. And 1 minute left on the clock here. But Unicorn Rage have almost capped as Ram on the objective here, dealing a lot of damage, able to get a kill onto Kiri, and Plateau does fall themselves. Shadow Owl killing Karam in turn. This is just about held by Shinzoku.
Yeah, Ram doing so much to live on the objective and find anyone who's low. Nemesis speed form. Form does obviously give you that extra bit of speed boost, and the punches are longer than they seem. So able to effectively catch people while still maintaining that point presence and securing the making sure there's no flip here. Some swaps coming through onto Tracer Genji for Shinzoku, I think for that recontest, and Unicorn Rage onto Genji Sojourn here.
Absolutely. Kyram able to deal a lot of damage here, and with being so close to Blade, they are probably going to be able to do it as they get bubbled and pop Blade, instantly going for a backline support, able to kill Shadow Owl in ult as well. That was a very questionable ult there, and we see Unicorn Rage able to finally get those 4 kills they were looking for and cap the objective. Shinzoku 8 seconds more.
I think Unicorn Rage played that really well. What they were after that whole time was just the HP trade onto the ramp. And even when, you know, Shadow Owl Nemesis, he was so low in the first place, and him being the Ram in this comp, he's going to be the one to touch point. And once they burn through his resources, even with the Annihilation, you see the moment he put the hands down, went for, I think, a single punch, just got melted through. Because even though there is an armor refresh, there is some HP restored, it can still be burnt through by a blade, and just being attacked from all these different angles. So Unicorn Rage happy with that last fight for sure. I think the swap onto Tracer, maybe not swapping back onto Sojourn, um, immediately did cost Shinzoku there ultimately, but being the team with 8 more seconds, they can maybe pull this off. Now,
Yeah.
all perks available now on this last attack for each team.
Yeah, and that is potentially going to influence what characters are chosen here. Some characters definitely become stronger as their perks go on, especially Freya, who we already see Unicorn Rage have chosen for this round, and possibly going to be able to poke their opponents out with her peak fire and then get out mobility. But even so, it's going to be a close game. So this.
Yeah, pretty much mirrored comps other than the DPS lines up here. Uh, well, obviously there's Zarya Genji compared to the Ram Reaper here as well. Um, both teams just jostling for space. Ram maintaining that point presence, trying to push that Ram off, trying to get the Reaper out. Wraith is forced. Reaper could be in trouble here. Nemesis form out for Ram, still fighting close to the objective. Trying to look who they can punch. Not finding all that much, but HP still good. Still fighting this small room. Shield out again. It's another push. Vortex on the corner, but it's the Freya who's been taken out. Kyurem still managing to trade that through. And it's the backline for Shinzoku that's fallen in all this. The Genji's done so much work. I
Ooh,
think got a bubble too. And
dealing a lot
Ram,
of damage
while
there, and
maintaining, yeah,
Lucio looking low, but does end up being okay with Unicorn Rage winning their first fight relatively confidently. It is going to be on the side of Shinzoku to push here now into a comp that is really difficult to get the damage you need off on.
I think Hellboy's done so well staying alive through all of that because he's nearly got this beat, and this could be absolutely
Yes.
crucial on this voice point cap.
Yeah, if you can get an ult early on here, especially one as powerful as Beat, you kind of guarantee enough space for your team to win here. And so close to capping this first objective in only a minute that it's potentially going to be looking rough for EC Shinzoku. Especially because if you manage to cap that first point, you get like the next half of the second one for essentially free on this map.
Indeed, and there was a blade
Ooh.
invested to secure the fight. I think that's essentially a 5k for Kyurem. You saw them do so much damage to Ram on that off angle, unable to be shot or cleared by anyone. Forced the Nemesis form, Ram holding his hands in the corner, but nothing to be done. No ults up for Shinzoku at the time. Now, this beat is still in hand for Unicorn Rage and the Kitsu, so Shinzoku really need to find up their own support ults to match this. So they got to play slow for now, I'd say.
Kyram getting a little bit of energy charge for Ruben Record there, but the C9!
It's a... What? It's a C9 from Unicorn Rage? When dealing with the aggression from the Ram coming in? Uh,
I
we
sorry,
have beat! What?
I mean, they still made it really far, I guess.
I'm, I'm,
I,
I'm so gobsmacked.
I,
What is going
I,
on here?
I, so that's broke me. There's been some weird stuff this game, but that's the least necessary C9 I've ever
I
seen.
can't believe we see 9. How can we do that? Nonetheless, that has put a big lifeline for Shinzoku here. If they're able to push past the first point, if they're able to snowball it quite quickly, this reaching second is very doable with where it stopped for sure. So going to be interesting to see what kind of comp they decide to walk out this time. Looking like the same comp as their first attack. Now with all perks available, the Genji Sim Hazard could be a lot stronger. On the side of Unicorn Rage, they're leaning into the BAP Lucio and the Soj Genji in response with Rams. Ram as an anchor for sure.
Now, Sim, again, interesting choice here. Shinzoku have been making reasonable use of Sims so far this tournament, uh, able to get strong TPs off, but Unicorn Rage have kind of wised up to their strategy and are primarily targeting those TPs. We just saw it there instantly get cancelled, and Obito instantly falling for it. Now, that is Ram gone down too. Unicorn Rage doing a very, very good job at killing their opponents and holding the objective whilst doing so. As their own Ram does fall, yes, but with 30 seconds already off the clock and counting, any time off the objective is lost for Shinzoku.
Absolutely. Nice fight there from Unicorn Rage. Shinzoku going for a little comp swap, sticking Plato on the Zen just as before. Looking to get round. His OT is going to be triggered any second now. And no ults on the board for either team, so it's going to be a battle of neutrals and who can play the game a bit better with ults
And
out of it.
Kyron might be able to get it quick, but even then, it is almost certainly a dry fight again. And that is always interesting. That is, we aren't going to have any wacky nonsense happening. It is basic Overwatch. And we see that Unicorn Rage are able to play basic Overwatch very well, clearing out all of their opponents, a team wipe there as they hold the objective and win their third game in a row. They need to win one more game to take it all.
Oh, the spacing. Oh, Shinzoku were doing so well. They played for their sim, charging their beam to level 3 just off the ram shield. And they still had the resources, but the Genji, Kyurem catching the Shinzoku Kiri just saw the opportunity and went for it, and that kill sealed the fight. They were traded, but the kill onto the Kiri at that point of the fight, it just made sure that Shinzoku didn't really have anything to sustain them through a Ran just walking through and punching them. It just made it so tricky. And
Now,
yeah, map 3.
it's not likely, but what do you think that Shinzoku are going to do a reverse sweep here?
Uh I'm not exactly a gambling man, and I wouldn't really gamble on that either because heading to it's been their map choice twice in a row with the first ban also being their player, and they still it's been
Yeah.
competitive for sure, and we've seen some
Yes.
great things from Shinzoku, but there's always these moments where Unicorn Rage is able to clutch up just that bit more and
Mhm.
eke it out. So I think in these clutch moments, in these clutch fights, if we can see Shinzoku hold on to that fighting spirit a bit longer, I think we can very well see a
Yes.
map win, if not a reverse sweep potentially.
Mhm. Now, looking at going on to flashpoints here, I don't think I've ever seen a team choose Atlas. So I personally think it's between Surabasa and New Drink City. I think that Shinzoku generally are playing more open and slightly slower maps, so we're probably going to see Surabasa here, but it's ultimately a little up in the air. And right, I was. I This is pre-recorded, so it looks like I just know what maps it is. I promise I don't.
No, this is just good for him. Absolutely, every time, bang on about the map that they're going to play. Obviously, it's pre-recorded and we actually don't know, but I think Zeus is just
Yes,
prophetic at this
I.
point. So Surabasa.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm prophetic in the way that I think it's going to be a reverse sweep.
That could also be true. I guess we'll definitely find that out. Um, I'm kind of surprised with Suravasa to an extent. Do you think that leans more into the Sim Genji potentially, or do you think we'll see another lineup from Shizuku? We've seen double hit scan looks from them. We've seen double
Mm.
flex DPS. We've seen like a mix of both, but they kind of really seem
Yeah,
to go back to the Sim
they.
Genji when it gets down to the wire. I say.
It feels like Shinzoku can play a lot of comps and especially DPS well, but no one brilliantly. Right? They've got a lot of versatility, which can be brilliant. But when you can't lock down one or two key characters that you know you can carry on and rely on, it becomes difficult to try to form compositions and win conditions around a central strategy or idea when you're constantly switching what you're doing. It does work in that it stops your opponents being able to respond. So it's kind of a double-edged sword where there's definitely an advantage to it, but it can also struggle in certain cases.
Yeah, nonetheless, I think we've got the band in place now. And it's going to be a Queen and Tracer ban.
Yeah, I
Okay. So I think the Tracer ban from Shinzoku, I think quite strong. Makes sure that Snowfrost can keep playing the Genji because I think Snowfrost and Genji has been absolutely fantastic. It's been their clutch hero, something they can absolutely rely on. A lot of the time, able to get the kills even if they're traded for it. Always good for a 2-for-1
yes,
sometimes. And QRM's been a demon on Tracer. I still remember that Ilios. Very, very scary. So forcing them onto a Genji mirror, something a bit more comfortable, or just off the Tracer
yes.
in general, and having Genji able to take his S in that space for sure. And
Uh,
Unicorn Rage banning the Queen.
it's
What are your
interesting.
thoughts on that?
We've not seen a queen yet today, and Queen is very good on New York City, okay on Saravasa. Like, there's a couple angles that she can speed up the retake of, but even then, it doesn't quite have the impact you're looking for. She is very good with Kiriko and Lucio, which is easily the strongest support roster right now. But even then, I don't know if she's worth banning because comparatively to other tanks, she's not as good. And on this map specifically, she's not the strongest.
I'd say I have another take on the Jug and Queen ban, and it's I can do what you can do, but I can do it better. We've seen the mirrored matchups of the tanks. We saw the Ram versus Ram, and
Yes,
I will give credit to Shadow Owl and Ruben being fantastic in the tank both times. But I think they're just happy to take the mirror, or they're happy to play into whatever Shinzoku has to offer.
potentially
So
that
they banned Queen. And it
that
also
could
could
be the
be
idea
something
there.
more of a tank protect as well, for sure.
Yes. Now,
In this case, I actually think it is, with Unicorn Rage hovering the Sig.
ah, yeah. And the choice to play Mauga there is interesting. Potentially a read of, hey, they're going to play someone like a Roadhog. Potentially where, like a health-based tank. Maybe Orisa. Maybe not Roadhog. Roadhog's a bit ridiculous, but probably Orisa. That's potentially the read they were going into. And Unicorn Rage have denied that and gone for what is the best tank into Mauga.
Absolutely, a full read onto this Mago comp. I think it's quite interesting. We're seeing a Venture from the side of Unicorn Rage, with Tracer locked out, Kurum locking the Venture instead of the Genji here.
Unicorn Rage already on the objective, essentially taking it, and it's not even locked. Whilst Shinzoku are going to be struggling to do much on the objective here, as they can't push up properly with the Malga comp.
Yeah, I think the issue there was they let go of the side space. I saw a 5-man rotation to Stairs, and Stairs is a good position because you can easily mark up flankers and the like. But the problem with this Malga comp is you need to set up your Lucio Genji, or a flanker of some sort, through probably the pillars right or left side, just so you got a different angle. And this allows the Malga to actually walk in without taking a billion damage, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Unicorn Rage going to be holding several angles here, dealing a lot of damage. Malga running onto the objective already. That is going to take a lot of space, but he gets pinned. He is alone and afraid. He ultimately dies. Um, that was a bit of a throw.
Yeah, there might have been like some timing for a 3-2-1 we're not too aware of, but it didn't look like you see Shinzoku were really ready to capitalize on anything. And pin, once you pin in, you can't exactly pin out. Not immediately anyway, it takes a few seconds. And just on the walk up is 99%, and there's been a touch from Plateau, and Obito has been caught unawares on the Emery. The Mauga quickly falls. Plato's finally caught by the Venture, and surely this point goes the way of Unicorn Rage here.
Yes. It absolutely has. As they play cleanup even, which is a little bit unnecessary. Just hit next objective, rotate, don't waste the time. But even so, they are looking confident here. And Shinzoku not looking to swap off that Mauga. That is ultimately their mistake here. You aren't going to be able to be a Sigma comp like this, that's this well coordinated with Mauga. It doesn't really work. You can't ever find an opening in Sigma's cooldowns to get that opportunity. Ults are your one potential to break open your opponent's comps, and even then, it's going to be difficult.
Absolutely. I just think what they're looking for here, if you're going to play the Manga comp, isn't the Sigma. I think you can't look at the Sigma. You've got to look for stompable targets. You've got to look for dashable targets. And it seems like here they've really decided, you know what, just
that is what they just did. Mauga initiated that fight by running through the entire enemy team, denying that Brock its opportunity to counter them, and being able to get 2 kills very quickly off the bat there. But Unicorn Range didn't use a single ult there. They definitely could have. And with essentially 10 ults in this match, it is going to be a quick fight as Kirill is used instantly with a Genji in the backline here, managing to kill not Lucas and killing Kyrum. That is Unicorn Rage, 2 players dead already as Shinzoku have essentially won the fight before it's even started.
Yeah, deciding, you know what, we need some more point pressure here. We don't want to let you walk up and use your stuff. We're going to use our stuff first. And it's catching Hellboy in the exit. So this is really good, getting more point percentage for free. And I've got a Mauga in this corner with Cage. I know there's a Flux from the other side, but this is going to be quite a tricky recontest. You're going to have to use a lot here to even get much going here. If you're Unicorn Rage, Flux out, catches 2, eyes on the Soj, Emery in the sky, I was about to say Panopticon. The Protocol out, catches 1 as well. Lucas trades the Kiri. The overclock is good, and it seems, even though it's cost a lot for them, Unicorn Rage are definitely stepping up, and they're gonna get the recontest here.
Yes. Now, Unicorn Rage, as you say, getting that retake, but it wasn't without a casualty, and Shinzoku have a very strong hold on the objective there, 99%. Unicorn Rage only 1 ult as which is the same for Shinzoku, but Mauga Cage can have a lot of pressure, have a lot of CC. It's not going to work quite right though for either team, as Kyrum already loses a member, but Shadow Owl already dies. It is scrappy here on the objective.
It's an absolute dogfight. Trays either side, but Shinzoku off the Mauga Cage, able to force enough cooldown. This Lucio Kira doing so much work with the Genji here. Hellboy coming back to help his Sigma, but Sigma falls. Hellboy quickly follows. Surely this point is going to head the way of Shinzoku.
It seems like it will. Is the reverse sweep alive? Is it going to come into play here? We shall see, as Unicorn Rage able to cap the objective, able to hold this next one. That is going to put them on the forefront. They are definitely better as the defending team on the objective. We saw it on the first point here, but even so, it's going to be difficult. Genji looking for a side angle here, I believe jumping off the edge of the map to find it.
I think so too.
Not completely off, but...
Oh, but caught by Ruben with a rock too on the walk up here.
What do you mean can't block a rock with a butter knife?
A trade coming the way with Kyurem falling to Obito, but Unicorn Rage happy to take it. They'd managed to collapse on Shinzoku, I'd say, in that, and Shinzoku just trying to find something to set up, get poked out from all these different angles. I still think this point can be very good for Shinzoku compared to first point. It's a lot more enclosed, which is what their comp really likes doing.
Yeah, ooh, Shadow Owl looking low here, does get Suzu'd, but it's still not going to be enough, especially with the Sigma ult coming out here. Ooh, the beat to counter it, still able to get one kill off the back of it, and with Malga trying to push down their opponents here, it's still not going to be enough. Emre on the objective, able to get 1, 2, 3 kills from that ult. That is going to be big for the side of Shinzoku, but Unicorn Rage still getting distance on the point. Anytime they can touch is more at 50%, and Shinzoku take the objective. A very clean fight for them, but they used so many resources from both sides.
That was essentially 4 ults from the start of Shinzoku. Credit to Plateau, staying alive throughout all of that means that they're already halfway to another beat at this point. But they've got to care this carry ult and response. If Shadow Owl is able to farm up this cage, this could be huge in stopping that. Taking a bit of an early fight here, probably going to back out a bit once you burn some resources. No, deciding to go into a Kitsu, still stomps the Surge, but gets traded immediately. And with that trade onto the tank, as long as they're able to stabilize it, it's Snowfrost in the back, catches the Lucio as well. And with this HP trade on them, taking a quick step back, but catching some kills on the exit. Eyes on this Emre. Unicorn Rage, gonna take another step forward now with the player advantage and surely get this flip coming through.
Ooh, but Al able to find an opening in their opponent's side and exploit it with the cage coming out there is going to get hindered out of it. And that was a very chaotic fight for what ended up just touching. And I'm not sure Shinzoku are going to be able to touch much longer. It's so up in the air.
The cage jacks from the cage jacks. But those kills on the exit from Lukita are very big. I think if you're Unicorn Rage, you need to be aware that you need to take a couple certs back here. Wait for your team. You've got this Sigil, you've got this Venture ult that you can use together, but this beat from Plateau could be huge. Out comes the
using
beat,
it instantly. It is Beat's going to wind down before they can get an opportunity to get any kills with it. That is not quite how they should have used that. As a reasonably questionable beat there, especially as Unicorn Rage look to clean up. Shadow Frost does die, able to get a kill off the back of it, but too late regardless, as Unicorn Rage have been able to cap the objective here, and we are on potentially the last couple minutes of this match.
Yeah, I just don't know what Plateau saw. I like the beat came out, but nobody was low. I don't know even if they even managed to collapse on anyone. And it was just Shadow Owl taking a billion damage.
That, right? You engage speed boost in the Malga, and then you beat when you can use that health to its fullest extent, or you wait for opponent's ults. Regardless, we're going to see Unicorn Rage here just sitting low on the objective, capping it, and their opponents have to touch to be able to take it, and not lose any progress now. And every second counts here.
We see on this much more open map where, you know, the hit scans can really play off the range here. On this point, I should say. Out comes the protocol in the sky, gets a kill, but shot down by the Surge. Overclock good for 2, maybe 3 at this point. Just eyes on the carry.
Not quite able to find them, and Ruben
Recker
looking low, but Malga is going to fall. Shield dancing perfectly there, as Lucio is almost going to fall to this venture, still able to wall ride just out. And neither team has claimed the objective till just now.
That was a very expensive fight. I think Shinzoku made a nice play there. They may have lost the point, but forcing double support ult, forcing the OC and the Venture ult, 4 ults for 1 fight, essentially, that is a really good deal, no matter which way you look at it.
Now, Plateau does have beat now, as Ruben Recker has Sigma ult. Using Sigma ult to greater extent so far this match, is probably going to be looking for an opportunity to be doing so, and does use it. Does beat get popped? It absolutely does in response, and that is going to be such a scrappy, such a low health fight for everyone. Shadow Owl getting 3 kills there on the objective, as a retake is almost certainly going to occur.
Absolutely, a nice point flip there, 72% a point accrued on the board, and just for the cost of a single beat, you still got this cage, still got this blade that you can rotate through to maybe secure the rest of the map. taking the fight a bit slower now, trying to get poked out too much, marking the angles, and it's Obito who's fallen, losing that hit scan. Gonna take another step back here. Mauga the backside of the fountain, trying to look to do something, maybe potentially with this blade. In comes Snowfrost, blade out.
Ooh,
What has he found? Slashing through so
managing to
many,
get
kills
Hellboy there.
one?
Shadow Owl, again, getting a 2k there. That is going to be really, really good for them, as they are 60% on the objective. Unicorn Rage can win here, but they really have to clutch up, they really have to touch, and Shadow Owl with Ull on the objective. Nautilus is going to have to use theirs extremely well here to be able to counter that value.
Yeah, this cage can completely nullify that OC. And out comes the cage early, but the Kiri's
Ooh.
dead. Luki has been
Shadow
taken
Owl
down
getting
without the
his
sort of sustain.
rocks off there as he gets pushed onto. But the retake of the objective from Unicorn Rage is going to be massive here, as with 10 seconds left on the objective here for Shinzoku to touch, they have to push through so quickly. It's either going to break instantly or shock Unicorn Rage.
Able to confirm the touch and the retake, but
Ooh,
having to use
Venture
so
ult
much
coming
to do
out.
it. Both
Getting
supports
one kill enables a second onto Mauga. Now beat. Oh no. Shinzoku don't stand a chance on the objective here.
Yeah, double support ult and Flux in hand for this. Admirable attempt, I should say, but it's Unicorn Rage who managed to secure the third and final point of Flashpoint, and that's going to be it for our series 4-0 to Unicorn Rage against EC Shinzoku.
What a final. I mean, it's rare you see a 4-0 match be so close in its individual games. I'm honestly reasonably surprised Shinzoku didn't win a single one there, because they were close on many occasions.
Absolutely, full capping circuit, the dogfight on Saravasa, the adaptations to their Mauga comp and the way they fought the Sigma comp and how they took quite a few points. It was really, really nice work from Shinzoku, but I think in those clutch moments or in those last fight situations, it's just they weren't quite able to eke it out over Unicorn Rage, always having just that bit of an extra oomph and able to secure multiple clutch situations in the end. So hats off to Unicorn Rage.
Yeah. Now, who do you think the MVP that was?
Hmm.
Because I've got a couple people in mind, but I'm leaning towards Lucas. It's difficult to play the hitscan DPS role so consistently, and by that I mean almost every fight they were getting 1 or 2 kills, and every time they ulted, it was valuable. They had almost no wasted ultimates there, and that level of consistency and sustained pressure is really difficult to master.
Absolutely. I think I quite agree with you there. Lucas showing a masterclass on the hit scan, not just on the Surgeon, on the other hit scan heroes they also played. And always good for it, able to get
Yeah.
that pick in the mid fight or even just starting off the fight by doming someone in the enemy team. I'm sure Plato and Lukita absolutely despise Lucas's guards, to be honest, because they were usually the casualties in these situations. But honestly, MVP out to Lucas. Fantastic work, and yeah, enjoy the win. You are
Absolutely. Now, just before we go, if you want to catch any of our previous Crown Cup matches and the rest of our champions bracket, you can go to Crown Cup on YouTube. Just search it up, you'll find it. And you will see on this channel on Twitch over the next couple days and weeks the playoffs for the champion division for season 4. We have some very tough teams here, with 4 of them being from one organization. So I think there's a 40% chance they win here, or 50% chance they win here. But I'm excited to see what comes of that, and I'm excited to cast the rest of this tournament.
Absolutely, that's something you definitely want to check out. Is one org gonna sweep the whole series, or is there gonna be a potential dark horse coming through on the side of the other teams here? You know, can't let that one org take over. Gotta see some interesting play for sure. So if you don't want to miss that, be sure to check us out when we return for those streams.
See you then.